We need to prove that left side equals right side. So tangent alpha cosine alpha equals sine alpha. As we know that we work on tangent here, work on tangents to convert tangent to be sine, I hear you, sine over cosine times cosine alpha. That's left side. And you see, cosine alpha, cancel cosine alpha, what's left? Sine alpha. So sine alpha equals sine alpha, left equals right. And the second question that we're supposed to have is prove that secant theta plus tangent theta times secant theta minus tangent theta equals 1. Your technique here, you have two quantities multiplied equals 1. So I prefer, we have like different kind of proofs. I prefer to multiply secant theta plus tangent theta times secant minus tangent. So secant times secant is secant square, and tangent times negative tangent is negative tangent square. And if you cross secant times negative tangent and positive tangent times secant would be cancelled. Secant tangent with negative sign and secant tangent with positive sign, it will be cancelled. So what's left? That secant square minus tangent square, we should have it as equals 1. So let's do that here. Secant square, what's secant square? We know that secant is reciprocal of what? I hear you. Cosine. And tangent is what? As we know, is sine over cosine. So it would be sine square over cosine square. And you see, we have the same denominator. So take the same denominator, cosine square of theta. And here is 1 minus sine square of theta. We're still missing that it equals 1, by the way. So we should have 1 minus sine square of theta equals cosine square of theta. Something I want you to know, and I will frame it here. Very important. That's the Bible of trigonometric functions. Sine plus sine square plus cosine square equals 1. Sine square plus cosine square equals 1. So if you subtract 1 minus cosine square, it will be sine. 1 minus cosine square, it will be sine square. And if you subtract 1 minus sine, as we have here, 1 minus sine square, 1 minus sine square, it will be cosine square. So use that here. We use 1 minus sine square equals cosine square. Replace cosine square for 1 minus sine square will be cosine square divided by cosine square, and it equals 1. So left side is 1 and right side is 1. I have the third question for you. Don't leave before we do it. Having sine theta over cosine theta plus cosine theta over sine theta equals cosecant theta secant theta. Oh, how to prove that? It's kind of weird. It's hard. It's not hard at all. Don't be panic. Sine over cosine plus cosine over sine. Let's state that. So first is to have common denominator. Let's do that. Common denominator is multiply sine times cosine. Here, let's do it. Sine times cosine. Sine, cosine. And then you divide sine cosine by cosine. Cosine cancel, sine left, sine times sine is sine squared. Or you could do that. Just cross sine times sine is sine squared. Plus, you divide sine cosine divided by sine. Sine is cancelled, cosine left. Cosine times cosine is cosine squared. Or you could cross cosine times cosine is cosine squared. As we know before, remember that this is the Bible of trigonometric function. Sine square plus cosine square equals 1. When you see sine square plus cosine square, just replace 1. Divided by sine times cosine. Let's split. It's 1 over sine times 1 over cosine. And what's the inverse of sine? I hear you. Reciprocal of sine is cosecant. Times. What's reciprocal of cosine? Secant. Oh, this is left side. And look at right side. It's the same. Right side is the same. Cosecant theta. Secant theta. So left equals right, and it's proved.